Hey everyone, I'm Ben Bolger and welcome to episode number 4 of the Expat Blueprint, the platform educating expats to financial freedom. So today's episode is about the importance of living within your means, and I'm going to help you understand what that actually consists of and then give you 10 tips to do so successfully. So I'm guessing you might have seen the title for today's podcast and maybe sort of sighed a little bit and just assuming I was going to spend the whole episode making you feel guilty about overspending. That's not what this channel is about. I'm a big believer in having balance in life, and just going from 0 to 100 isn't going to work for the majority of people. It's like giving someone who's overweight a diet plan that one of these fitness models on Instagram follows. It would literally be like a few days before they jack it in. That being said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Whilst I'm not going to spend this whole episode telling you to live like a monk and making you basically feel depressed by the end of it, I do expect you to have a think about your own situation and just be honest with yourself. You're obviously listening to this because you want to do better, which is great. So let's get real and make that happen. Right, okay, so living within your means. Why did I feel like I needed to dedicate a whole episode to it? The answer is because it's probably the most fundamental piece of advice you can be given when it comes to personal finance. If we can't get this bit right, I'd be just wasting my time creating future episodes. To kick off this show, I wanted to try a new format that I've called What, Why and How. I want my podcast to be informative and educational, but to a point where you feel comfortable taking action. There'd be no point doing the MBA or reading all the entrepreneurial books you can find unless you decided to take action and start a business. And that's exactly what I want you to do with the information I give you. So the what section will give you the basic understanding of the financial concepts that you need to know. I'll do my best to make things super simple and relatable so that finance doesn't feel confusing anymore. The why section is what's going to give you the driving power. Like, we all know that cigarettes are made up of tobacco, nicotine and other chemical additives, but that information isn't the reason why someone would choose to give up. The why for people giving up would be the fact that it leads to lung disease and it can have a real sort of damaging effect on our body. So unless I give you the why to this financial information, you're a lot less likely to do anything with it. Finally, the how section. This is exactly what you need to know to put things in motion. Right, so hopefully that's clear. Let's get started. So what is living within your means? Living within your means is simply spending less on your lifestyle than what you currently generate in income. While this sounds simple, the access that us expats have to borrowing is frightening. It feels like as soon as you've got off the plane, the banks have your mobile number and offering you credit cards and personal loans for fun. It was only last month a friend of mine said that she applied for a credit card and got sent 2 by her bank. This access to money can sometimes lure us into spending more than we can actually afford to pay back. I say lure because extra credit is like putting sweets in front of children. If they know it's there, then it takes a whole lot of willpower not to consume it. This temptation can cause us to be reckless and lead us to an unsustainable lifestyle where we're spending money on things to support and upkeep a certain image. I think there's this certain perception that expats are living abroad and like everyone is making a killing. Especially when you go back home and visit people, they always assume that you're raking it in. Trying to live up to this reputation puts your future at risk and will only damage you in the long run. Remember, don't go broke trying to look rich. So why do we need to live within our means? 2 words: disposable income. Your disposable income is what is left after your salary or other forms of income after spending. The size of your disposable income dictates how much you can put towards your future goals. The more you can put towards them, the quicker you're going to get there. A huge theme of this podcast will be using your disposable income to buy or invest in things such as stocks and rental property, which in turn will start to make you money. This is known as passive income. We want to use our disposable income to buy us things called assets that are going to start making us money while we sleep. The wealthy people in this world don't just rely on one source of income. They look to find ways of making multiple revenue streams. And this is easier than you think, but it all starts with getting your spending under control. Without living within your means and creating regular disposable income, unfortunately, you don't even make it to the start line. Right, so now you know what it means and why it's so important. I'm going to give you 10 of my top tips so you can start living within your means successfully. Number 1, first and foremost, and I'm sure you knew it was coming, it's the B word. It's a budget. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about budgeting because it's so important we'll be dedicating other episodes to it. But if I had $100 for every time someone sat down with me and said, Ben, I don't have a clue where my money goes, I'd be a wealthy man. A budget gives you structure, and that structure gives you control. The same way a gym program, a study schedule, or a diet plan does. Trying to navigate your spending without a budget is like shooting in the dark. Once you do have a budget and a plan, you can start being intentional about how you spend your money, and that is exactly where the gold lies. Number 2 is paying more attention to those recurring expenses you have. These recurring expenses we pay on a monthly basis are already a drag on our saving potential. Really challenge how important each one is and whether you're getting the most value out of it. If those expenses are necessary, can you shop around and find a more effective alternative? Things like TV, internet, insurances and so on. Ring up your provider and their competitors each year to see if you can negotiate a more favourable rate. Number 3, search for deals. There are more and more apps and websites that promote use of coupons and discount codes. In the UAE, we have things like The Entertainer and Groupon. If you know you're going out, why not organise your social life around a venue that will give you 2 for 1 or a discount on the bill? A benefit of this is whilst you're also saving money, you're also more likely to try out places that you never even thought about going to. Number 4, don't just mindlessly revolve your social life around things that you have to pay for. The world is an amazing place and there's probably loads of cool things that you can do which don't cost you any money. Things like taking a trek through the mountains, camping in the desert, chilling at a public beach, even just going and spending time in the local park playing football or volleyball. It's the people you spend your time with which makes your time enjoyable, not the fancy restaurant or the extravagant bar. Also check out magazines like Time Out. There are so many cool and cheap or sometimes free events that aren't very well advertised. You just got to keep an eye out. Number 5. Now I've mentioned it a few times. Now my goal isn't to turn you into a robot, function just to save. We should be able to enjoy life and part of that is spending money on stuff that makes us feel good. However, what you could consider is maybe just spreading out the frequency of those splurges. If you like to get a massage every month, maybe changing that to once every 3 months. Or if you like to go out for a pint with your mates, maybe consider not doing that every single week and maybe do it once a month. The chances are now that your treats are less frequent, you actually start to enjoy them a lot more and get more excited when they come around. You're also going to save a lot of money doing so. Number 6, learn to distinguish between wants and needs. Wants are purely emotional, whereas needs are necessity. A good way to distinguish whether a purchase is a want or a need is the old sleep on it technique, or just wait 48 hours. Making the decision to purchase something after taking the time to consider it will often mean less emotion is in the decision. Impulse buying can really cause damage to your saving goals. Take some time when making costly purchases. Do you really need it or are you just acting on emotion? Number 7, save for things. Do you remember as a child when you had to save up your birthday and Christmas money if you wanted to buy something? Or do extra chores just to build up a fund to buy something really cool? How good was that feeling when we finally got enough money to buy what we wanted? Why did we completely forget this as an adult? Far too often we purchase what we want without any thought about how it might affect our budget for the rest of the month. We have this buy it now and worry about it later mentality. Why not try saving gradually for things that you want? By factoring this savings into your budget, you'll not only stay on track with your monthly spending, but you also appreciate what you've bought a lot more. Number 8, don't compete. In today's world, it's so easy getting caught up into trying to look like you're living a certain way to impress people. Being an expat means you're meeting people all the time, and they come and go in and out of our lives as we move through our expat journey. Realistically, and if I'm being brutally honest, out of all the people you meet, how many of those are you actually likely to stay in contact with on a regular basis in the future? And those people that are your true friends shouldn't care less about the things you own. They should only care about you as a person. It's the famous Will Smith saying, too many people spend money they haven't earned to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like. Now that's pretty direct and probably a bit brutal, but you get the point. You're awesome not because of the stuff that you buy or you own. You don't need to put on a front for anyone, and if people are making you feel like you need to, then it's time to ditch them and find a new circle of mates. Number 9, don't be lazy. I've been an expat so long, I'm not actually sure whether this is an expat thing or just how times have moved on, but we don't do anything ourselves anymore. Any sort of thing that requires a little bit of effort, we just think, surely there's someone I can pay to do this for me. From preparing food to putting up stuff from IKEA. There are a lot of things in our lives that if we were happy to go through a slight bit of inconvenience, we could save money. Now people are going to say time equals money, which is fine. You probably need to question yourselves if you're paying someone to put up some wardrobes so you can sit and watch Netflix. Number 10, the last tip is similar to number 8, but it's about gratitude. Being grateful for everything you do have in your life is going to mean you don't feel limited or deprived. Feeling content with the things you do have will make you less inclined to buy stuff you don't need because there won't be that feeling that something's missing in your life. Being grateful for your amazing expat opportunity and the people you've got to meet is awesome enough. You don't need to go and buy a flash card to prove to yourself you're having a good time. So there you go, living within your means. I hope the importance of this subject has come through today because like I said earlier, it's absolutely fundamental if you're wanting to build wealth. So much of what we're going to talk about is about psychology, your relationship with money and the choices you make. This is what's important. How to invest and make money grow, though is a lot more sexier of a subject, is the easy bit. People don't fail with their finances because they pick the wrong index fund. It's because they don't get the simple stuff right. I want you to get your mindset right and get into the good habits so we form a good foundation so you can really start to make progress with your finances. I hope you've enjoyed today, and if you have, please leave a review and a rating on this podcast. Share it with your friends and your family, and please don't keep us a secret. I want to help as many expats as possible nail their expat opportunity. Make sure you follow all the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn, and sign up to our awesome weekly newsletter via our website, www.theexpatblueprint.com. Look forward to seeing you next week, everyone. And remember, don't forget to dream big.